Welcome to the School of Berkeley Social Welfare. My name is Greg Merrill, and I am your field director, and I oversee all of the field education in our school. And I'm super excited to meet you, and I want to congratulate you on being admitted. I had a chance to read 50 of your applications. I'm really excited to meet you. While you're with us in Berkeley Social Welfare, our model of education is concurrent, meaning that, particularly in your first year, 3 days a week, you will be in our classroom. In the classroom, you will learn knowledge, you will learn critical thinking, you will learn the values of our profession and how difficult and complex it is to uphold those values in the reality and constrained environments in which we operate as social workers. And so you'll learn all those kinds of things, and as well as a lot of skills. 2 days a week, you will put the knowledge, values, and skills to test in a field placement. Essentially, we're going to assign you to a program or an agency, and that there will be probably a social worker like myself who works in that agency, probably full-time, and who has agreed to serve as your agency-based field instructor, designing tasks for you to do that help to test and build your skills and competencies, and also allow your confidence to grow. And so that's the field education program, and the back and forth between this classroom and your field practicum really allows for you to think and then to act and then to think some more and then to act some more, and it really builds strong social workers who can think in real time and make complex decisions, accessing a lot of knowledge, values, and skill simultaneously. So we really like the design of our program. Although it is stressful to do both at the same time, we think it builds a stronger practitioner. So while you're with us, there will be 7 field faculty members like myself, in addition to myself. All of us have worked for, on average, about 15 years in public social services. Most of us have held leadership positions in those services, and we have then transitioned to being clinical and programmatic educators here, and working with students not only on their placement processes and guiding and mentoring them, but also leading an integrated field seminar with you and also teaching practice methods courses. And so we have a unique role here, and we're super passionate about what we do, and you make us passionate, and then hopefully we make you inspired and passionate as well. While you're with us, you'll have 2 distinct field placements. That's another thing that we're proud of, is some programs only give you one long one. We give you a shorter one and a longer one. So if you look at this graphic here, your first year placement is about 50 days, 2 days a week, Wednesdays, Thursdays. And your second year placement is 3 days a week, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, and it's about twice as long as your first year placement. And I mention that because we have 2 opportunities to arrange a really good context for you to learn in. In the first opportunity, the shortest, the 50-day one, we definitely want to ask you to do something different. We want you to work in a different context, with a different population, with a different social problem, and possibly with a different intervention method. And we also want it to be within your grasp, meaning that it is something that you can learn and succeed at. And we also want it to be meaningful to you and to be relevant to your future. So that's really a challenge to figure out what is the right match for you. Second year placements typically are much more complex. There's a greater variety of them available and a longer planning process and application process. And so we ask most students to reserve their greatest passions and interests for the second year, and to view the first year as an opportunity for some meaningful experimentation and expansion. So here's how we're going to get started. There will be an online form that you will complete, and you will have gotten instructions. You will log into our Sonia platform, and you will complete that form, and it will ask you all kinds of questions: where you think you'll live, whether or not you have a car, whether or not you anticipate using accommodations, are there children, elders, or others that you provide significant care for, do you have any health issues or other issues that might interfere with your field education that we should be aware of. We're going to ask you about things that you've already done and feel that you know how to do. We're going to ask you things that you're very excited to learn. We're going to ask you the kinds of populations, settings, interventions you'd like to provide long-term as well as immediately upon graduation. And then you will also fill out a questionnaire about any legal or ethical background issues that you might have. Because we do insure each and every one of you while you're in field education, we have to disclose those things to our insurer. So please make sure that you answer those questions fully and honestly so that we can protect you. When you're done your questionnaire, you also upload a copy of your resume that's been revised and updated. And then you click submit, and a field faculty member like myself assigned to you will be reviewing it and contacting you to schedule a 1-hour conversation. If you're able to come to Berkeley, we will sit down with you in our Berkeley social welfare offices and really have a face-to-face talk about what you need, what you want, what your interests are, and we can interact with you about first-year placements we expect to have available that might be suitable for you. If you're not available to come to Berkeley, then we can talk with you by telephone or through video conference, Zoom. We use Skype, we use Google Chat, FaceTime, any number of those ways of talking with you as well. After each of us is assessing 15 of you. After we assess our cluster of 15, we all meet and we will match each of you to an agency that you will then interview at. And those interviews typically occur in June, July, or early August, kind of on a rolling basis. Sometimes you'll have a phone interview, particularly if you're out of region, and then you'll follow up with an in-person interview when you're here. If you're here already, we encourage you to go for an in-person interview so that you can really see the site that you would be learning in. They can meet you, and you can exchange information and both decide if it would be a suitable match or not. After the interview, you and your interviewer let us know whether you feel it's a match or not, and we go from there. So that's really how the process works. All right, so if you, there's a few things that I want to talk to you about that if you have access to healthcare now or your health records, you will save yourself time in August if you've taken care of some of these things. So Berkeley requires you to have these immunizations, and many of the agencies that you intern in will ask for you to turn in a documentation of these as well. So we're going to ask if you have a negative tuberculosis test or to get a PPD, to have proof of immunization for measles, mumps, rubella, and varicella, to get a Tdap, tetanus, diphtheria, and pertussis vaccination, and a meningococcal conjugate vaccination as well. So if you have health records that can substantiate these, and particularly if you've had a PPD test in the last year, that's fantastic. If you don't have medical records and you have current access to healthcare, please take care of this and bring the records with you. If you don't have access to healthcare and don't have the records, then as soon as you arrive, please go to Tang Health Center and take care of these things so that they won't delay you from being placed. All right, thanks so much. Let me see if there's anything else I want to tell you. If you want to do it in placement in your place of employment, under certain circumstances, we do allow that, and you can petition for that, and there's information related to that in the pre-placement questionnaire you will fill out for us. Some agencies offer stipends, but most don't. And so for the most part, these are you getting course credit for completing it, and for the most part, they're not paid. We do encourage our agency sites to award you with a stipend, and some of them have grant money to do that, and some of them do not. I just want to be clear about that. If you don't have access to a car, we will find a placement for you that is accessible by public transportation. If you do have access to a car, it can really help us to place you in a wider array of settings that might meet your educational needs. So we would just wanted to encourage you to use the car if you do have a car related to placement. I think those are the main things. So, the last thing I want to say is your field faculty, after we assess you and after we send you out for interviews, we are off duty from about June 15th until about August 18th. And so if we don't respond to your emails during that time in a kind of time-sensitive manner, just know it's because we're technically off duty. And once we come back on duty in late August, we will be very responsive to your concerns, and we will look forward to meeting with you, being your seminar leaders, and being your practice instructors. Thank you so much for tuning in.